あんたが幸せになれない理由はただ一つ。それはあんたが物事をどうでもいいと思えないからじゃ。驚いたか、ふざけるなと怒ったか、それとも呆れて物を言う気も失せたか。だがな、これこそがわしがこの世の森羅万象を見通し、天と地の間で呼吸をしてきた中で掴んだこれ以上ないほどの真実なのじゃ。どうでもいいと思いなさい。すべてはどうでもいいのじゃ。これは決して自暴自棄になれと言うておるのではないぞ。人生を投げ出せと言うておるのでもない。むしろその逆じゃ。あんたが握りしめているその余計な執着、無駄な心配、勝手な思い込み、そういった心の垢を全部きれいさっぱり洗い流してしまえと言うておるのじゃ。あんた方はあまりにも多くのことを背負い込みすぎておる。明日の天気から老後の蓄え、隣人の噂話、過去の失敗、未来への不安、そんな重荷を背負って歩いておれば誰だって息が切れるのは当たり前じゃ。心を軽くせよ、心を空っぽにせよ。そうすればそこには無限の力が流れ込んでくる。今日はわしがそのどうでもいいという魔法の言葉が持つとてつもない力をあんたに授けてやろう。これを聞き終わる頃にはあんたの肩に乗っていた重い石は消え失せ、まるで羽が生えたかのように心が軽くなり、人生が勝手にうまく回り始めるのを肌で感じるはずじゃ。さて、まずはあんたのその真面目すぎる心について話をしようか。世の中にはな、真面目であることが美徳だと信じて疑わない人間が多すぎる。もちろん誠実であることは大切じゃ。しかしな、あんたのその真面目さは本当に誠実さから来ておるのか。違うな。それは恐れじゃ。失敗したらどうしよう、人に笑われたらどうしよう、期待を裏切ったらどうしよう、そんな恐怖心からガチガチに身を固めておるだけではないか。わしは長年数えきれないほどの人間を見てきたが、眉間にシワを寄せて必死な形相で努力しているやつに限って大した結果を出せぬものじゃ。なぜかわかるか。それはな、心が縮こまっておるからじゃ。心が緊張し萎縮しておると、天からのインスピレーションも幸運の風も入ってくる隙間がないのじゃ。逆にじゃ、いつもニコニコしてどこか抜けていて、まあ何とかなるだろうと高をくくっているやつに限ってなぜか不思議と大きな成功を手にしたり危機をすり抜けたりする。これを単なる運だと思うか。違う。これこそが法則なのじゃ。彼らは知っておるのじゃ。自分がどうあがいたところでなるようにしかならんということをな。これを諦めと呼ぶのではない。委ねると呼ぶのじゃ。あんたは自分の力で人生をコントロールできると過信しておる。だから思い通りにいかないと腹を立て悲しみ苦しむ。だがな、よく考えてみよう。あんたは自分の心臓を自分の意志で動かしておるか。食べたものを自分の意志で消化しておるか。明日の天気を自分の意志で決められるか。何一つできんじゃろう。あんたを生かしておるのはあんたのちっぽけな自我ではない。もっと大きな偉大なる何かなのじゃ。その大きな流れになぜ身を任せない。なぜ川の流れに逆らって泳ごうとする。力を抜け、手足を離せ。そしてどうでもいいとつぶやいて仰向けに浮かんでみよう。そうすれば流れがあんたをあんたが行くべき海へと勝手に運んでくれるのじゃ。人間関係においてもそうじゃ。あんたは人からどう思われるかを気にしすぎて羽織らんか。あの人に嫌われたくない立派な人だと思われたいバカにされたくない。そんなくだらない見栄やプライドのためにどれだけのエネルギーを浪費しておるのじゃ。はっきり言っておくがな、他人はあんたのことなどこれっぽっちも気にして羽織らん。みんな自分のことで精一杯なんじゃ。あんたが今日どんな服を着ていようがどんな失敗をしようが明日になれば誰も覚えて羽織らん。それなのにあんた一人が勝手に舞台の上で踊らされ観客もいないのに緊張して震えておる。滑稽だと思わんか。誰かが陰口を叩いたとしよう。それがどうした。言わせておけばよいのじゃ。犬が吠えているのと変わらん。あんたがそれに反応して悔しい許せないと感情を揺さぶられるから相手の言葉に力が宿るのじゃ。ああ、そうかい。まあどうでもいいわと笑って受け流してみよう。その瞬間相手の言葉はただの音となり空気に溶けて消えていく。人間関係の悩みの9割は あんたが相手をコントロールしようとする心から生まれる。分かってほしい、変わってほしい、愛してほしい。これらはすべて執着じゃ。他人は他人、自分は自分。相手がどうあろうと、わしはわしで楽しく生きる。そうやって境界線を引いた瞬間、人間関係は驚くほどスムーズになるものじゃ。嫌な奴がいたら、心の中でこう唱えよう。お前はお前の宇宙で生きよう。わしはわしの宇宙で生きる。さようなら。どうでもいい人よ。それで終わりじゃ。縁があればまた会うし、なければそれまで。去る者は追わず、来る者は拒まず。そのくらい軽やかな心で人と接すれば、自然と良い気が巡り、本当に必要な人間だけがあんたの周りに残るようになる。金や仕事についても同じことが言えるぞ。金が欲しい、出世したい、成功したい。そうやって目を血走らせて追いかければ追いかけるほど、金も成功も逃げていくものじゃ。なぜなら、そこには今の自分には足りないという強烈な欠乏感があるからじゃ。ないという意識が、ない現実を作り出し続ける。これが宇宙の仕組みじゃ。逆に、まあ、今のままでも十分幸せじゃ。金なんてあってもなくても、わしの価値は変わらん。どうでもいいわと腹の底から思えたとき、不思議なことに金回りが良くなる。仕事も舞い込むようになる。執着が消えると、エネルギーの詰まりが取れるからじゃ。あんたは、将来の不安のために、今という時間を犠牲にして働いておるな。老後のために、万が一のためにと、金を貯め込み、使うことを恐れておる。だがな、明日死ぬかもしれんのじゃぞ。今楽しまずに、いつ楽しむつもりじゃ。金は天下の回り物。喜んで使い、喜んで受け取る。その循環の中に身を置くことじゃ。金がない。まあ、どうでもいい。なんとかなる。そうやって空を見上げて笑ってみよう。その楽天的な波動が、貧乏神を追い払い、福の神を呼び寄せるのじゃ。仕事で失敗した時もそうじゃ。クビになるかもしれん。評価が下がるかもしれん。飛び首くするでない。たかが仕事じゃ。命まで取られるわけではない。どうでもいいわと開き直れ。その度胸が、かえって事態を好転させる。縮こまった人間には誰も魅力を感じんが、堂々とした人間には人がついてくる。結果として、開き直ったやつの方がうまくいくようになっておるのじゃ。病気や健康についても触れておかねばならん。あんた方は、少し体の調子が悪いとすぐに重病ではないか、このまま死ぬのではないかと不安になる。病院へ行き、薬を飲み、健康食品を買い漁る。健康のためなら死んでもいい。とでも言いそうな勢いじゃな。だが言っておくが、病気の半分以上は気から来るのじゃ。病気になったらどうしようという不安が、体に毒を流し込んでおるのじゃ。痛みや不調に意識を向ければ向けるほど、その感覚は増幅する。人間にはな、本来素晴らしい自然治癒力が備わっておる。体が勝手に治そうとしてくれているのを、あんたの心配という名の雑音が邪魔をしておるのじゃ。体がだるい。まあ、休めという合図じゃろう。どうでもいい。寝てれば治る。そのくらい大雑把でいいのじゃ。痛みにいちいち話しかけるな。痛い痛いと可愛がるな。無視せよ。忘れてしまえ。楽しいことに熱中して、体のことなど忘れているとき、不思議と痛みを感じない経験があるじゃろう。あれが真理じゃ。心身はつながっておる。心が愉快であれば、体も愉快になる。心がどうでもいいとリラックスすれば、体の緊張も解け、血が巡り、細胞が活性化する。眉間にシワを寄せて青汁を飲むより、腹を抱えて笑いながら酒を飲んだ方が、よほど長生きできるというものじゃ。わしを見てみよう。わしはいつだって、自分の体のことなど天にお任せじゃ。だからこうして、生命力がみなぎっておる。さて、ここらで少し、あんたの心の奥底にある過去と未来という亡霊について話そうか。あんたの悩みのほとんどは、今ここにはないものばかりじゃ。過ぎ去った過去の失敗を悔やみ、まだこの未来の不幸を憂え。あんたは一体、いつを生きておるのじゃ。あの時あんなことを言わなければよかった。あの選択は間違いだった。そうやって過去を振り返り、自分を責める。だがな、過去なんてものは、もうどこにも存在しないのじゃ。あるのは、あんたの記憶の中にある幻影だけじゃ。終わったことは、どうあがいても変えられん。 変えられんことを悩み続けるのは時間の無駄というより命の無駄遣いじゃ。失敗した。まあいい経験じゃった。済んだことはどうでもいい。そうやって水に流せ。川の水が二度と戻らないように過去も戻らない。だからこそ美しいのじゃ。そして未来、老後が不安だ、地震が来たらどうしよう、孤独になったらどうしよう、まだ起きてもいないことを心配して今この瞬間を暗く塗りつぶす。馬鹿げたことじゃと思わんか。未来など誰にもわからん。わからんことを考えるだけ損じゃ。あんたがどれだけ心配しても起きることは起きるし、起きないことは起きない。それが天の采配じゃ。ならば今この瞬間を味わい尽くすことだけに集中せよ。今目の前にあるお茶がうまい。今窓から入る風が心地よい。今生きているだけで丸儲け。それで十分ではないか。未来のことなど知ったことか。どうでもいい。なるようになるわ。そうやって未来への執着を手放したとき、あんたは初めて今という永遠の時間の中に生きることができる。そしてその今の連続こそが輝かしい未来を作る唯一の道なのじゃ。わしがこうしてどうでもいいと説くのは、決して投げやりになれと言っているのではないことをもう一度強調しておこう。これはな、宇宙に対する絶対的な信頼の証なのじゃ。神様、仏様、宇宙の大いなる意志よ、あなた様のなすことに間違いはありません。私ごときのちっぽけな頭で考えた計画よりもあなた様のシナリオの方がはるかに素晴らしいことを知っています。だから全てお任せします。結果がどうなろうとそれが私にとって最善であることを信じます。これこそが真のどうでもいいの精神じゃ。これをかんながらの道とも言う。自分の小さなが欲を捨て大いなる流れに身を委ねて生きる姿じゃ。あんたがこうでなければならないと必死にしがみついている手を開いてみよう。執着を手放したその手には本当に必要なものだけが残る。そして想像もしなかったような素晴らしい贈り物が天から降ってくるのじゃ。あんたは今まで自分でオールを握り必死にボートを漕いできた。流れに逆らい岩にぶつかり傷だらけになりながら、もういい加減オールを置け。疲れ果てたその手を休めよう。ボートの中で大の字になって空を見上げればいい。川の流れはあんたを絶対に悪いようにはしない。海へ出るまでは激流もあればよどみもあるだろう。だが最後には必ず広大で穏やかな海へとたどり着く。それを信じるのじゃ。信じて全てを投げ出せ。いいか、言葉には力がある。言霊というやつじゃ。あんたが普段吐いている言葉があんたの現実を作っておる。辛い苦しい心配だ許せない、そんな言葉ばかり吐いておれば人生はその通りになる。今日からは口癖を変えよう。何が起きてもまずはこう言うのじゃ。まあいいか、それがどうしたなんとかなる、どうでもいい。これを呪文のように唱えよう。嫌な上司に怒鳴られたら心の中でへえ、すごい剣幕。まあどうでもいいけどとつぶやく。財布を落としたら厄落としになったわ。まあどうでもいいとつぶやく。恋人に振られたらもっといい人が現れる前触れじゃ。どうでもいいわとつぶやく。最初は強がりでもいい。言葉に出すことで脳が錯覚を起こし始める。あれ本当に大したことじゃないのかもしれないとな。そうして心が軽くなれば現実は後からついてくる。深刻になるな。人生は深刻になった時点で負けじゃ。この世は神々の遊び場であり舞台なのじゃ。あんたはその舞台で悲劇のヒロインを演じることもできれば喜劇の王様を演じることもできる。どうせ演じるなら笑って踊って面白おかしく生きた方がええじゃろ。どうでもいいという言葉はあんたを悲劇の脚本から解放し自由なアドリブを楽しむための許可証なのじゃ。もっと具体的に言おうか。例えばあんたが何かの選択に迷っているとき、A の道に行けば安全だが B の道は危険かもしれない。そうやって損得感情で悩み立ち止まってしまう。そんな時こそどっちでもいいと叫ぶのじゃ。正解なんてものはない。あんたが選んだ道があんたにとっての正解になるだけじゃ。どっちを選んでも楽しいこともあれば辛いこともある。なら直感でえいっと決めてしまえばいい。失敗したらどうするか、その時はその時で また考えればいい。どうせ最後は死ぬのじゃ。死ぬ時にあの時 A を選んでおけばよかったなどと後悔すると思うか。しない。まあ、いろいろあったけど、面白い人生じゃったと思えれば、それが大成功なのじゃ。だから、迷う時間があるなら、サイコロでも振って決めてしまえ。そのくらい、人生を軽く扱え。重々しく考えるから、一歩も動けなくなるのじゃ。責任という言葉に縛られているあんたにも言いたい。親としての責任、上司としての責任、社会人としての責任、結構なことじゃ。だが、責任感に押しつぶされて、あんた自身が笑顔を失っては本末転倒じゃろう。あんたが苦虫を噛みつぶしたような顔をして家族のためと犠牲になっても、家族はちっとも嬉しくないぞ。それよりも、あんたがどうでもいいわと笑い飛ばし、毎日をご機嫌に過ごしている方が、周りの人間も救われるのじゃ。子供は親の背中を見て育つ。親が人生を楽しんでいれば、子供も生きることは楽しいことなんだと学ぶ。親が苦しんでいれば、子供は生きることは苦役なんだと絶望する。真の責任とは、あんた自身がまず幸せになること。それ以外にない。他人の重荷を勝手に背負うな。冷たいようだが、人は一人で生まれ、一人で死んでいく。誰も変わってはやれん。だからこそ、自分の魂の機嫌を取ることに全力を注げ。無責任だと誰かが指さすかもしれん。言わせておけ。ああ、わしは無責任なのお天気野郎じゃ。だが、毎日最高に楽しいぞと胸を張れ。その底抜けの明るさが、結果として周りを照らす太陽になるのじゃ。世の中には正義を振りかざす人間も多いな。あれは間違いだ、これは許されないと、常に何かを批判し、怒っておる。ニュースを見ては怒り、政治を見ては嘆く。ご苦労なことじゃ。だがな、正義というのは、立場が変われば悪にもなる。絶対的な正義など存在せん。あんたが正しいと思っていることは、あんたの狭い価値観の中での正解に過ぎん。それを他人に押し付けるな。そして、他人の正義にいちいち目くじらを立てるな。世の中にはいろんな人間がいる。わしとは違う考えのやつ。理解できない行動をするやつ。それが当たり前じゃ。そういう考えもあるんじゃな。まあ、わしとは関係ないがと流せ。いちいちジャッジするな。ジャッジする心は、心を固くし、視野を狭くする。清濁合わせの無という言葉がある。きれいな水も、泥水も、全部飲み込んで、腹の内で浄化してしまうくらいの度量を持て。清く正しくなんて窮屈な生き方はやめよう。清く、正しく、美しくではなく、強く、楽しく、たくましく生きよう。泥の中に咲く蓮の花のように、とんとした世の中でも、あんたの心だけは、何にも染まらず、ただ、どうでもいいと超然としていればいいのじゃ。さて、ここまで話してきても、まだあんたの心にはでも、という言葉が残っておるかもしれん。でも、金がないと生きていけないでも、病気は怖いでも、世間体がしつこいやつじゃな。まあ、それが人間の差がというものかもしれん。だが、あえてもう一度言おう。そのデモを捨てろ。そのデモが、あんたの足首につながれた鎖なのじゃ。勇気を出して、その鎖を断ち切れ。怖いのは最初だけじゃ。バンジージャンプと同じで、飛んでしまえば、あとは風になるだけじゃ。一度どうでもいいの境地を味わえば、今まで自分がどれほど小さな箱の中で、幻の怪物に怯えていたかがわかるはずじゃ。世界は、あんたが思っているよりずっと優しく、ずっと適当で、ずっと面白い場所なのじゃ。朝、目が覚めたら、まず鏡に向かってにっこりと笑いかけ、今日も最高の一日じゃ。何が起きてもどうでもいい。すべてはうまくいっていると宣言せよ。夜、布団に入ったら、今日も一日、無事に終わった。いろいろあったが、まあどうでもいい。ありがたい。ありがたいと感謝して眠れ。これを毎日続けるのじゃ。騙されたと思ってやってみよう。1週間もすれば、あんたの顔つきが変わってくる。目に力が戻り、肌に艶が出てくる。今まで気になっていた小さなトラブルが、目に入らなくなる。苦手だった人が、なぜか優しくなる。臨時収入が入ったり、欲しかった情報が飛び込んできたりする。それが波動が変わるということじゃ。 あんたが発するどうでもいい執着がないという軽やかな波動に、宇宙が共鳴して、軽やかで幸せな現実を連れてくるのじゃ。人生なんてな、所詮は暇つぶしじゃ。長い長い宇宙の歴史から見れば、人間の一生など瞬きするほどの時間にも満たん。そんな一瞬の夢のような時間を、しかめっ面をして過ごすなど、もったいないとは思わんか。もっと遊べ、もっとふざけろ、もっとバカになれ。賢い顔をして悩んでいるいとまがあったら、好きな歌でも歌って、好きなものを食って、好きな場所へ行け。神様はな、深刻な顔をして祈る者よりも、笑い転げている者を愛するのじゃ。なぜなら、笑いは最大の祈りだからじゃ。わっはっわと笑い飛ばせば、邪気は逃げていく。運気は開ける。笑うもんには福来るというのは、単なることわざではない。宇宙の絶対法則なのじゃ。だから、何があっても、まずは笑え。参ったな。こりゃ、わっはっわと笑ってみせよ。笑えば、心に余裕ができる。余裕ができれば、解決策が見えてくる。解決策が見えなくても、まあどうでもよくなる。それでいいのじゃ。さあ、そろそろ時間じゃな。最後に、あんたにこの言葉を送ろう。人生は、思った通りにはならないが、やった通りにはなる。あんたが深刻に考えれば、深刻な人生になる。あんたが適当に考えれば、適当で楽しい人生になる。どちらを選ぶかは、あんたの自由じゃ。だが、わしはあんたに、笑って死ねる人生を選んでほしいと願っておる。そのためには、今、この瞬間から、どうでもいいの達人になることじゃ。すべての執着を捨て、裸の心で世界と向き合え。鎧を脱げ、武器を置け。ただのすっぱだかの魂になって、この世という大冒険を楽しめ。大丈夫じゃ。あんたは守られておる。何があっても、最後は必ずうまくいくようになっておる。それが宇宙の約束じゃ。だから、安心せい。どっしりと構えよう。そして、軽やかに生きよう。わしが見てきた中での結論はこれじゃ。人生を難しくしているのは、いつだって自分自身じゃ。世界はシンプルじゃ。太陽はただ昇り、雨はただ降る。そこに善悪も、幸不幸もない。ただ現象があるだけじゃ。それに良い悪いというレッテルを貼り、勝手に一喜一憂しているのは人間だけじゃ。そのレッテル貼りをやめよう。雨が降れば雨か、よしよし。晴れれば晴れか、よしよし。金がなくなればないか、よしよし。病気になれば病気か、よしよし。すべてをよしよしと肯定し、受け入れ、そして流す。それが最強の生き方じゃ。この境地に達したとき、あんたは無敵になる。何も恐れるものがなくなる。失うものが何もない人間ほど強いものはないからな。さあ、顔を上げよう。背筋を伸ばせ。そして大きく深呼吸をするのじゃ。吐く息とともに、体の中に溜まったドロドロとした不安や執着を全部外へ吐き出せ。そして吸う息とともに、宇宙のキラキラとした光とエネルギーを体いっぱいに吸い込むのじゃ。どうじゃ。少しは気分が良くなったか。その感覚じゃ。その軽やかな感覚を忘れるな。もしまた、日常の荒波に揉まれて心が重くなりそうになったら、いつでもこの話を思い出せ。ああ、あの変なじいさんが言っておったな。どうでもいい。と、そうつぶやくだけで、あんたは本来の自分、輝ける魂の自分に戻ることができるはずじゃ。あんたの人生は、あんたのものじゃ。親のものでも、会社のものでも、世間のものでもない。あんたが主人公で、あんたが監督で、あんたが脚本家じゃ。なら、もっと面白い脚本を書けよう。ハラハラドキドキしても、最後はハッピーエンドになる。最高の喜劇をな。失敗などない。すべては伏線じゃ。今の苦しみも、後で笑い話にするためのネタに過ぎん。だから、安心して悩め。安心して苦しめ。そして、最後は安心して笑い飛ばせ。なんとかなる。全部うまくいく。とにかくどうでもいい。この言霊を胸に。さあ、行け。あんたの新しい人生の幕開けじゃ。わしはいつでも、ここからあんたのことを見守っておるぞ。愉快に、軽快に、そして豪快に生ききるのじゃ。よいな。頼んだぞ。わはわ。
Everything that you project vibrationally does create a sort of vortex, and there is a momentum. That's why we're defining that there's the receptive mode of your true vortex and who you really are, and then there's the receptive mode of all the things that you've worried about. And so there is a vibrational stream that precedes all manifestations. So what's manifesting is manifesting in response to where you're hanging out on this emotional scale. There are things that come from that true vibration of alignment, and there are things that come from revenge, and there are things that come from anger, and there are things that come from overwhelmment, and there are things that come from despair. All of these could be called receptive modes because it's where you've got your tuner set. So it's what your reception is about. And whatever your reception's about, it's all you're letting in. So if your reception is set in overwhelmment, you can't let in things that ease it up. If your reception is set on being a victim, you can't let in anything that is upscale from that, as long as those are the thoughts that you're practicing. When you sleep, it stops momentum and it sort of clears the air, so that when you awaken in the morning, you are always here for a moment, until you begin pondering and considering the dilemmas and problems and decisions of your life experience. And then usually you end up lighting about where your average thoughts have been, but it doesn't need to be that way. The thing about your dreams don't happen all night long like you think they do. It's like an instantaneous download when you awaken in the morning of where your vibration is. So as you recall that, it's usually because you've settled quickly back in to that strong momentum of problem that you've had going on. Whatever you've been consistently worrying about or thinking about or reveling in is usually what makes up your dreams. Esther remembers, after receiving us and having the first few conversations where we were flowing through her in response to Jerry's questions, she began having flying dreams for the first time in her experience. And it's because of the new freedom that she'd discovered in allowing this energy to flow. And so night after night, she was having flying dreams because of the difference in the way that she was feeling, you see. So don't try to control it. Don't try to control any outcomes. That's really something that we'd like to say to all of you deliberate creators. Don't try to control outcomes. Don't try to control manifestations. Instead, do what you can to consider where you are vibrationally, emotionally. Let that be what your emphasis is upon. And then let what you put into the vortex and now your new reception of it be the control of what unfolds in terms of manifestation. You'll like it. You'll really like it. It is such an easy button approach. It is. Don't make too much of it and take whichever path is the least upstream. Or let go and float for a little while. If there are two choices and neither one of them feel that good, neither one of them is that good. But you can't all of a sudden just cease to exist. You can't just stop thinking all of a sudden. You can't stop your momentum like that. So don't beat up on yourself because you can't. Just let it go, and when you sleep, it will subside. And when you awaken, it will be better. And then the next morning, it will be better. And the next morning, it will be better, as long as you understand this. It really is about staying in your lane. It really is about wanting to feel good and know what thoughts take you off and paying attention to what happens. There is nothing wrong with running over a few things while you're learning to drive. It's just sort of something that has to happen. So as you are acknowledging that, oh, that thought led to that, then next time you come across that thought because of past momentum, you might have more control about it because you're more decisive about it now. But let your decisions be about how you feel, not about the nitty-gritty of what you're deciding. It's really about diffusing negative focus. If you diffuse negative focus, in time, it won't be part of the mix. So at the same time that you're diffusing negative focus, you can be focusing more positively. It's just a matter of caring about how you feel and guiding yourself accordingly. We've been talking about several things in this gathering, things that we want you to feel sort of new about in some ways. And the first thing that we wanted to bring emphasis to is that receptive mode and replenishing mode are the same mode, and that everything you want comes from that. So, of course, we've tied it into the decisions that you've made because it's personal. In other words, it's not being a puppet that someone else is deciding for you. These are things that you have specifically asked for that mean something to you. And so getting into that receptive mode is just the most wonderful way to live life, to know when you're there and know when you're not there, and not be mad at yourself when you're not there, but most of all, know when you're there. And just knowing that makes you more likely to want to do that, which is what that step 5 living is all about, isn't it? It's about not beating up on yourself when you find yourself in a receptive mode of something less than what you want. And so then what happens once you're striving or wanting or enjoying more of the receptive mode, what happens is you begin to experience more of a feeling of worthiness, because you begin noticing the correlation between what you've been thinking and how you've been feeling and how it's playing out. And you even feel worthy when it plays out in a way that you don't want. There's something so wonderful about knowing that you're in charge of what comes. I did that, you say, or I did that too, you say. In other words, there's something wonderful about being the deliberate creator of your own experience. So that feeling of receptivity and then that feeling of worthiness that comes as a result of it are such important components of where you stand in your vibrational now. And then the now factor is such a big factor, because in your now, you have more latitude than you've been giving yourself credit. Let your decision-making process be mostly about the way you want to feel, by understanding that you've already filled your vortex full of the decisions that are important to you. And then just watch how lovely life plays out. And then you'll find yourself more and more of the time being in this state of being where things are unfolding around you and you are witnessing the evidence of your alignment. That's the best part of deliberate creation, to witness the evidence of your alignment. Or let's have a step 5 moment. Witness the evidence of your misalignment. But witnessing the evidence of it, isn't that a lovely thing? By staying in your lane, which is one of the things that we've really been talking about, when you find yourself saying it's frustrating, you're off on the rumble strip, aren't you? It's frustrating. Don't go there. Don't even put words to it being frustrating if you can stop yourself, if you're not too far in the frustration to stop yourself from even saying it. Just say, wait a minute, I can back off of that. I don't have to proclaim it. I don't have to continue to argue for my limitations, because that for sure is going to continue the momentum and take you off. Everyone has a propensity to do that a little bit, because you're sort of fact-based people. You've been trained to face reality. And we say, facers of reality do not change the reality that they're facing. If you face reality, you keep active the vibration that keeps bringing the same results. Different places, different faces, but it's basically the same experience that you continue to regurgitate. And it does not have to be that way. You are not facers of reality, or you are creators of reality. You are creators of your reality, you see. And so notice the correlation between the words that are coming out of your mouth, the conversations you're having with your friends. And notice how often you could have got back in your lane. You could have. But for reasons, screwy reasons, like momentum, or you don't want to hurt your friend's feeling by changing the conversation, or mostly momentum, mostly your own momentum, or mostly your own justification or rationalization. But none of those things feel good. And so, do you know that every single thing that you want, no matter what it is, a material object, a state of being, a pile of money, a person, anything that you want, everything that you want it because you think you will feel better when you get it. And everything that we've been talking about is we want you to feel better before you get it, or else you can't get it. You got to feel good about the essence of it. You've got to feel good about the idea of it. You've got to feel good that you were in the receiving mode and even received the question of it or the problem of it. You got to feel good about all of it. It's time for you to start being proud of where you stand in this world. You're doing really well. Do you know, as a deliberate creator in this sea of contrast, in this planet, you are masters of creation. It's why you're here. None of you are little new souls that are coming forth floundering like some of them want to tell you you are just because things aren't going well. That's not the case ever with any of you. You are masters at creation, and you've come into the most complex, most perfect diversity that has ever been in any dimension, any time, anywhere. Here you are, sifting and sorting for your personal conclusions about how you believe the world and your world within this world would be better. And your worthiness is such that everything that you conclude is understood and backed up by source completely. And the energy that creates worlds is focused on your behalf. It's time for you to line up with the focus that's already focused on your behalf. And if you do anything less than that, you'll feel frustration or worse. The easiest way to explain it to you is that as you connect to your inner being, you connect to everything else, because your inner being is connected to everything else. So your inner being, your personal inner being, who is personally aware of everything that is important to you, is connected to all of that stream of well-being. We could spend the rest of your lifetime defining the particles of non-physical. Everything that has ever lived has been sifting and sorting and creating a vortex. And what is non-physical is the culmination of all of those requests. Pure and higher and better feeling. A sort of liquid love. That's what it all is. Just feel for what it is, and you will know. In your vortex, you might have put a specific relationship or a specific place that you want to live, and the reason behind it is because you like satisfaction and contentment, or you like vistas, and so that would connect with a lot of other vortexes. You get to bring the specifics forward, and so your vortex is as specific or as general. It is as general as what everyone wants, which is well-being and freedom, and to be understood and heard, and worthiness. In other words, that's a vortex that includes everyone. But your vortex is specific unto you, so specific and precise that everything that you want and every detail about it can be yours in so many more moments than most of you are allowing. It helped Esther when Jerry made his transition into non-physical to understand this and to find words for us to explain it more, because she had thought that she had understood. She had been visiting with us and allowing us to flow through her for a very long time. And she accepted us as a collective consciousness, and she could feel different degrees of emphasis of consciousness coming forth. She could feel very specifics coming forth. In other words, sometimes even when she's leaving the stage, she feels an ongoing conversation with someone who's just been in the hot seat about things because of the momentum of that's going on. In other words, she knows that there is a fluidity to what is Abraham. She understands that it is a collective consciousness. It is not a personality that has these opinions about these things. It's a source energy, infinite intelligence, consciousness. So as Jerry made his transition into non-physical, now Esther was not very happy about the idea of Jerry just joining the Abraham soup. Whatever that was. In other words, she knows that he does. She knows that he is. She knows for sure that he is a part of that because she lived with him and knew his heart. She knows that. But she wants more specifics from Jerry than from Abraham. So Esther has very specific dialogues and conversations with Jerry because Jerry was specifically and intimately involved in Esther's experience, in the day in and day out experiences. She knows what he desired relative to business and so forth, and clients and well-being and those sorts of things. So she's always wanting to know what he is thinking about it. She wanted to continue to approach things in the way that she knew from his business background and his wisdom and his heart and his love. She wanted to continue things. But now she is discovering that even now she will receive dialogue from him and she will say, I want to be clear that I'm receiving you as you are, not as I remember you to be. But it was a while before she was willing to do that. Now she's let him be part of the soup, you see. Now she's letting him be the fullness that he really is, while the specifics still come forth, because she gets to define the specifics. You all get to define the specifics, and infinite intelligence will answer you as broadly and as generally or as specifically and intimately as you are able to allow, you see. It's not your asking that is separating it out. It is your receptive mode. It is your trust. It is your receptive mode. And so if you'll just chill out and let it flow, really good.
I am stoked. I can sit here and say, I got it. I have got it.
Next.
Yeah. I had that thought I could be here and get the knowing of it and shore it up, or I could go for a walk along the beach.
Well, let's take thought beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's the wave. It builds up, it gets so wow.
We like that word, wave, momentum.
Momentum.
Momentum. When you maintain a frequency without introducing resistance, momentum becomes more and 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 more. It's exhilarating, isn't it?
It's exhilarating.
Yeah.
In that, I feel like I'm breathing in the universe, and it almost feels like, I walk around the house, can't get the grin off my face, spontaneous laughter, joy, self-love. And that's a big thing. I suddenly realised it is that joy of loving myself.
We don't know of a way to induce that feeling of worthiness, which is what you're describing there, that is easier than to understand the laws, deliberately choose thought, pay attention to how the thought feels, recognize the momentum, and then watch the logical manifestational results of that. There is no greater way to understand your worthiness than to allow the blessings that are queued up for you to be realized by you. Because words don't teach. It's only life experience that teaches, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And there isn't anything that makes you feel less worthy than when you pinch yourself off and then assign the pinching to someone else. I don't understand why you're not letting me have what I want.
Done that for a while.
Only you. So now what?
Well, I can appreciate when I got sick of you telling me it's easy. I was going to stop telling me it's easy. And now in the ease, wow, it's easy.
When you are a really good athlete, let's say you play tennis. It's one of the few sports you have that Americans understand. And you're good at it. Do you seek an opponent who you can whip every time? Or do you like something that evokes from you something more? So, of course, you're always reaching for that ease. But isn't it nice to have something to reach for?
Yeah.
And what you're going to come to understand, if you don't already, and some of you do know this, is that it is not more difficult to create a castle than it is a button. It's just a matter of identifying your desire and then believing it. And so it becomes easy once you get the laws. The object of your attention becomes irrelevant. Once you understand that you get to choose, and once you understand that you can align with it, and once you know how to prepare your grid, and once you're able to watch for the signs that let you know whether you're in alignment and allowing or not, now there is nothing that you cannot be or do or have. Well, we want to say that in a different way. There has never been anything that you could not be or do or have, but when you know it, that's when you start allowing yourself to experience it. So what do you want to talk with us about?
So in that place, it feels so high flying, and sometimes it's like, whoa, I've just got to settle down a bit. Or people see you and think you're on drugs. It's like, whoa, I've got to get a balance here.
You get to control that. You get to control the gap between your desire and your allowing. And so the closer you are to alignment with what you want, then the calmer it feels. It's all about maintaining your own momentum, making sure that you're up to speed. We've been offering for a while an analogy. It came with our conversation about one of the processes that we offered, which was the focus wheel process. But we talked about the merry-go-rounds on the playgrounds. And when the kids have one really going fast and you want on, sometimes you can't get on because it's going too fast and you just can't get on. And when you try, off in the bushes you go. But if they will slow it down and then let you on and then you speed it up, then you can enjoy the increasing of the momentum. But recently, Esther has discovered for herself an image in her mind that it's like whatever she's doing grid-wise is like that merry-go-round that is spinning it. It's gaining momentum. So she is discouraged. She's on a merry-go-round that is in that vibrational arena. And in her discouragement, only others who are discouraged can get on with her. So even though she would like high-flying, happier, more productive, more efficient, more effective to get on with her, they can't get on because that's not where she is. So what you may begin to recognize is that you have control over where you hang around. And the more you deliberately focus your thoughts and allow your vibration to naturally rise, as it will, then once you begin maintaining that higher frequency, then more of the things that you have been wanting and more of the things that have been spinning in your vortex can then flow easily into your experience. So it's nice to kick back and have some ease, and it's nice to rev things up. We are not encouraging you to hit the floor running every day. We want you to have ease, but we also want you to have momentum. And what so many people are doing is they're gaining momentum and then they slow it down. And it's the discomfort of bringing your momentum. It's like a train that's going 100 miles an hour that way, and you want it to go 100 miles an hour that way, but you don't want it to happen suddenly. You really want it to slow down and then speed back up. So law of attraction is managing all of that for you. Want to talk about something specific?
It's just life in general, my stories of where I want to be and feeling I know what's coming. I know the expansion of where I'm going by my story. And
yet there will be constant surprises and delights, yes?
Yes.
Because you have a vibrational awareness of what's coming, but the details of it you don't know, not necessarily.
No.
So, do you like to try to fill the details in?
Yeah.
And what do you think the benefit is of defining the details that you would like to unfold?
The details that feel good.
Yeah, for sure. Does it tell the universe what you want?
Yes.
Or have you already done that?
I've already done it.
So what does talking about what you want in detail actually do for you vibrationally?
Shores up the knowing of the place I'm in.
It causes you to practice the vibration that allows the details to occur to you. Are you beginning to get the sense of this? Sometimes as you're thinking about deliberate creation, you think, well, I'm here and what I want is over there, and so I'll just figure out some way to bring that to me or to get me to it. And we would like you to begin to understand that you have already done the creating. The creating is already complete. You've got enough going on in your vortex to keep yourself busy for 20 or 30 lifetimes. So now, as you practice the art of allowing, as you reach for more and more thoughts that feel increasingly better and better, and as you maintain that higher frequency longer and longer, the grid fills in, and the grid fills in with the manifestations that you all have been assigning to yourself as your job. We want to back up and say that again because we really want you to hear this. Sometimes you think that in order to get your vibration in the right place, that you need to think about your goal, talk about your goal, get really good at articulating it, talk about how much money you want and what you will do with it when you get it. Sort of like you're telling the universe, this is what I want, so don't forget about me. And we want you to understand that every minute you spend verbalizing, imagining, envisioning, that's not your time of identifying what you want. You already did that in step one. And that's not your time of making it happen because Source has already gathered all of the cooperative components. That's already done too. But every moment you spend envisioning or articulating or talking with others, those are moments that you're spending practicing a grid that puts you in the place of then being open-minded and in a place that you can receive the awareness. So then those ideas begin to flood into your mind and you say, I have a really good idea. And you think that you have conjured the really good idea. And in essence, you have conjured it, but it came from your vortex that's already conjured. Are you getting the sense of what we're talking about? Your path to the money you want, your path to the lover you want, the path to everything that you want has already been defined. You're just wanting to put yourself in a place where you can receive it, you see. We just can't emphasize strongly enough your awareness that you have a point of attraction and that your job is a lot simpler than you think it has been. It's not your job to stand now and sift and sort to make sure you get the right thing. You've already made sure. And it's not your job to convince anybody that you're deserving of it, because you are already deserving of it. It's already in your vortex. Your job is to chill. Your job is to find ease. Your job is to quiet your mind. Your job is to make lists of positive aspects. Your job is to do rampages of appreciation. Your job is to meditate yourself into alignment. Your job is to bask in the deliciousness of your life. Your job is to get general enough that you stop doing that thing you've been doing that precludes you, that disallow you from receiving the inspiration you see. So now you're starting to get a sense of what your life is about. Now your life is about receiving the inspiration. You're on your highway and you're on your way to someplace you go frequently, but now you're getting a really strong impulse to do something else instead. It defies the logic or the general pattern that you've been following, but it's a new sensation, it's a new hunch, it's a new inspiration, it's a new impulse that's so strong that you cannot deny it, because you've been practicing not denying it. You've been practicing following the rhythm that's coming into your grid, because you're beginning to trust it. You're beginning to feel more worthy. Things are starting to work out for you. You're beginning to trust your own instincts. You're beginning to understand that you have this guidance. You're beginning to know that Source is with you and knows what you want and knows the path to it.